So this is Keep, a new tower defense, or should I say keep defense game. It had a trailer that demanded attention immediately. A huge medieval style keep. Perhaps, who knows, with the opportunity to expand to eventually a full castle with lots of trimmings. Combined with guns. The defenses that you will be using for your keep are fairly modern guns, all of them looking like they are from the last century. A perfect illustration of the rule of cool. A medieval keep with World War II era firepower? That is cool. You can also directly take control of any gun, jump in and out to personally deal out damage to incoming enemies. The game has a great atmosphere too. The weather and lighting are realistic and immersive, really making you feel a bit like a poor, struggling commander, where all of the elements are against you, not just battleships, planes, infantry, and armored vehicles. However, to help achieve some of this atmosphere and immersion, Keep lacks several common features you may find in other tower defense games. The lack of most of these also shows us quite clearly why so many games like this do use these features. Targeted towers. Towers are able to be targeted by enemies in this game. Sometimes this can add a new element of strategy. In this iteration, it simply means that your guns will slowly take damage, and you'll have to replace them. To avoid this, you could also heavily saturate your keep with anti-air, since airborne enemies are the ones that target your turrets. It doesn't really feel like there is much to break down here, just that if one of your turrets does die, you will probably need to replace it. There doesn't seem to be much strategy here, though I suppose it makes it more difficult to defend. Incoming enemies. Many tower defense games have clear paths that enemies will follow. Your job is to be tactical with your resources and towers, and place them in positions that can cover the most area or the most important angles. Yes, enemies do have spawn points and do follow set paths, but since it's mostly impossible to figure out where they will come from before placing your turrets, it feels rather like you're just placing them at random, and probably non-optimally, since you feel like you probably have to cover all approaches. Taking control of individual turrets. While perhaps a nice break from managing your entire defense, it does mean that you can't really manage your entire defense because you're busy shooting. I do think that it is a very cool feature, again, and it might work. For example, if the mechanics meant that during incoming waves you couldn't build or add guns, so your only option at this time would be to take control of turrets and shoot. But that isn't the case, and getting behind the guns means that you're not looking at the battlefield overview, something you probably will want to keep constant track of. Some kind of build mode. Let me explain. I think this game needs a better build mode. When playing this demo for the first time, I desperately needed a pause button, or a build mode that paused the game. The first incoming wave was incoming very soon, and I wanted to read all the descriptions of the turrets. I think that many of the issues I had with the game could be fixed by either just having a paused button so that I can read everything I want to without panicking, or pausing the game during a build mode where I can think about what I want to do. Adding in other information, perhaps during this build mode, would be great too. For example, highlighting, and hear me out here, the paths that enemies will take, how many enemies will be arriving, and where they will be spawning from. It could also work if you're willing to treat the game like you're under attack but not sure how best to defend. Trial and error, perhaps, as you learn which enemies need to be taken out first, where they are coming from and what paths they are taking. But most tower defense games don't do this, because your planning and strategy is based on the information you have. When you know very little or no information, it's very hard to make tactical decisions that matter. You could replay the levels, try something, then work hard to adapt and improve to face again if you fail, but that does sound like having to gather all the information yourself just so you can begin to start playing properly, which is a bit questionable. There were a couple of other things that were a bit strange to me. The pathing, which I have mentioned, isn't even that obvious if you look closely and carefully. There is, for example, a section of ruined tower that the armoured vehicles use to climb. I don't really get that. And I sometimes struggle to press and hold the turrets to make them rotate quickly and cleanly, something which you probably will have to do fast to respond to threats. Overall, Keep is one of the best feeling tower games. I could really believe that I'm on a highly important but small island with a small force, no reinforcements on the way, and I have to defend for my life. But that feeling mostly melts away as I struggle to understand what's going on around me, when what I really want to do is understand what's going on around me, then struggle to defend. If you want to try out Keep, the demo is available. If you want to try out more videos from me, like and subscribe. And I'll see you later.